Hello friends, this is Avinash Kumar. Welcome you all once again. In this video we will learn what a static keyword is. Before we start to understand a static keyword, we need to know the difference between instance member and class member. Let's take an example. Till now we know that class represents a group and objects are the member of that group. Like employee is a class and Rahul is an object whose salary is 1 lakh rupees per month, designated as senior software engineer. He does code and takes salary, etc. And like Rahul, employee is a group of other employees too, like Ravi, Vipin, etc. Those are taking a fixed salary and designated at a post. So here we can find out what are the attributes and behavior of the object. These behavior and attribute are known as instance member of the class, where the value of attribute may differ for two different objects or instance. But attributes and behavior which are common in employees are known as class members. Like we are creating a software for Walmart company, so company name will be same for all employees. In this case, company name attribute is perfect example of class member because it will be common for all the object of class employee. Let's try to understand image. In this image, we can see object 1, object 2 and object 3 have a separate memory area for name and salary. Suppose if we have changed the name of object 1, it will not impact on name of object 2 or name of object 3. But in other hand, if we have changed the company name, here we can see all the objects are pointing this company name. Then the changed company name will impact to all the objects. So here we can see over here like the company name is common for all the objects. So that is why in this case we can create a company name attribute as a static. In simple words, if there is an attribute having same value among all objects, then we should make it as class member. Like here, company name will be same for all employees. I think now we are able to understand difference between instance member and class member. We have already seen some example of instance member, but how we can declare a class member and use it? Let's try to understand that. Again, we have big question that what is a static keyword? So static keyword is used to create class members, and here we have type of class members. The first one we have is a static member. So it is an attribute of class that is a class member or class variable. It can be defined as putting a static keyword before the primitive name or class name. We can see in the example. Now we have a question in our mind that to initialize instance member we have constructor, but what we have to initialize static member? So the answer is static block. Static block is a block which is executed at once class is loaded into the memory. Let's talk about sequence of its execution. So first class is being loaded, then static block is executed to initialize the static member. So the next question is, what if programmer has not created the static block? As we have studied that if constructor is not created by the programmer, then constructor is created at the compile time. Similarly, if class is having a static member and static block is not being created, then static block is created by the compiler. We can also have multiple static block into class. It will be executed in sequence as it is being created into the class. It means the first static block will be executed first and then second and then later on. In this example, we can see that we have not written anything into the main class. In spite of that, we get output. This is because static block executed at the time of loading of the class. So whenever class will be loaded, static block will be executed first, then main method get chance to execute. To make any method as a class member, in method signature we need to use a static keyword. We can call static member or a static method without creating the object of the class. That means directly with the class name. Now we know that we can use a static keyword with attributes and methods. Can we use constructor as a static? The answer is no, because constructor is an instance member and a static is used to create class member, so we cannot create a static constructor. Now let's discuss static method. Method signature that having a static keyword is known as a static method. It can be called using class name only. That is why whenever we try to call any non-static member from a static method or a static block, Java gives compile error, because any non-static member only gets memory if object is created for that class. But on other hand, static member gets memory if only class is loaded. Till now, I have covered maximum points related to the static keyword in Java. Let's take a live demo. So let's take a live demo with example static member. So here what we have done, I have created a class and I have made a static member, or you can say the class member, like test str. But here I have not created a static block. Let's check after the compilation, compiler has created a static block or not. So here I'm going to compile area to find out. So let's start with, I'm going to open a command prompt, and the similar with the Java P, I'm going to check that. Yes, here we can check a static block is being created. I have already covered that if a class does not have any constructor, then a default constructor is being created. So this class doesn't have any constructor and static block, so static block is being created by the compiler. Now moving to next point. So now try to check over here. Like I have created two different static blocks, static block 1 and static block 2. So let's try to execute this. So here the first static block is executed first and the second one is executed second. If I'm trying to make the order change, so let's check what will be the change now. So the second will be executed. So first, whatever in the top it is written, it will get first chance to be executed. Now moving to next live demo. In this demo, what I have created an employee object. I have created a static member company name, and as we have already seen non-static or instance member, so here I have not created any static keyword to make it instance member. Here, this is a way to create a static method to make a static keyword, and here I have made non-static method. Now let's see some example, a good example. So in this example, what I have done, I have created an instance, a reference variable of employee, and I have just called a method on top of set company name XYZ. For instance, I'm going to comment this line of code and trying to execute this. So I'm getting output what I have set, and I'm trying to get this value. So I'm able to check that the setted value XYZ is printed. But what if I'm going to uncomment this line of code? So XYZ was printed, but I have found null pointer exception at line number 11, that is this. So why I'm not able to succeed to set the name as Avinash, but I am able to do that to set company name as XYZ? As I have discussed earlier, that the company name is a static member, but the name is not a static member in employee. It is not a static member, it is instance member. So what actually happened over here, when the employee class is loaded, the memory for company name is being created, but we have not created the object of employee. So for the memory name, for this name instance member, memory is not being created. So what E is pointing? E is pointing to null. So when I'm trying to set a name to instance member, it is searching the instance where the instance is. So it finds that it is at null. So because the instance is pointing to null, we've got a null pointer exception. So here it's clear, when the class is loaded, for the static member, memory is being created, but for non-static or instance member, memory is not being created. It will only happen when we create the object of that particular class. Now try to move into next demo, that is, if I'm going to create a non-static member into the starter class. So let's take an example like string test str. So again, it is non-static member, or you can say that instance member. And if I'm trying to access this test over here, like I'm going to print this test, it will create error, and it says cannot make a static reference to the non-static field test, because what happened, it's instance member. So if the class will be loaded at a time of execution, the memory for test will not be created. So in the static method, we cannot call this test. So that is why we are getting this error. But if I have created the object, I'm going to create the object actually here. Then this error will be gone, because now object will be created. After creating the object only, the memory for test is being allocated, and then we can access this test. Now trying to execute this. Now here we are able to get the result very quickly. So here is that in a thumb rule we can say that static member we can call, we can assign, we can access with the class name. We do not need to create objects. But if we deal with the instance member, then we need to create the instance of the class, that is object. We need to create the object. Now moving to next example, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to create object of employee, and again I'm going to create two different objects here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the name of this employee only, and set the name of second object is employee 1 for test. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the company name is set company name is like XYZ, and now I'm going to print the value. Employee.getName employee1.getName and employee.getCompanyName. Or what we can do, we can also call get company name with the object. I'm trying to run this. I have found that whatever I have set into the employee, it is printing over here employee as a name, and the company name as a XYZ. Now I'm going to change the name of only employee object as employee 2, and again I'm trying to print this. So what we'll see over here, that only the name has been changed for that employee only. This employee name is not being changed. But what if I'm going to change the company name using the instance of this employee? Here for a object I have changed a non-static member name, that is employee 2, and for using this object only I'm going to change the static member of company name with a different like 2. So see what will happen. So here with the example you can see instance member, whenever I try to change the instance member using object, that only that object value is being changed. But whenever I'm trying to change the static member, the static member value has been changed for all the objects. It means that the static member only maintain on the label of class, but the instance member can be vary as per the objects. So that's it from my side in the live demo. And now what we have covered here for this particular demo, so we have covered multiple questions over here, that is, what is a static keyword in Java, what is a static method, what is a static variable, what is class member and instance member, why static member or class member can be accessed into a static block or a static method, what is the need of a static block, can we have multiple static block, what if the static member is created but the static block is not being created into the class, is it possible to create a static constructor, why non-static method cannot be referenced into a static constant. If you are able to answer these questions, then you have understood this topic completely. If not, then please watch this video once again. Kindly watch my next video on method in Java. Till then, thanks. Kindly like and share this video, subscribe to my channel, and leave your comments if you want to know any clarification on your queries. Thanks once again.